y'all. How many people know it's an election coming up? How many people are pissed off about what you see in the country? How many of you all know we can do better? How many of you all want somebody to do it? How many of y'all voted in the last election? How many of y'all didn't? Yep. So we got an amazing panel, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation about all of these issues, from who's in the White House to who's trying to get into the White House, to how we vote at the local level, to the census that's taking place and how that's going to impact us, to the fact that hip-hop plays an amazing role in how young people turn out, and specifically black women, who are the most important demographic in politics anywhere. And so to do that, we've got an amazing panel of men and women who are going to come out. I want you to give each of them an incredible round of applause. Give it up to my brother, Steve Pargett, Candace Owens, you know T.I., Killer Mike, Katrina Pearson, and Tamika Mallory. Give it up for our panel as they come up. That means clap. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. All right, y'all, we're going to get right into this. So what I'd love for each of you to do in less than 60 seconds is state what you think is the single most important issue facing us in this presidential election. Single most important issue facing us in this political election in 60 seconds, and then we're going to open up and really get into this conversation. Steve.
What's happening? I think the most important thing, when I think about young people, when I think about 20, 30 years from now, and when I think about this election, I think about the intersection of climate change and the way that technology is going to change absolutely everything. In our lifetimes, what it means to be human is different. In 6 to 10 years, 50% of jobs that pay under $20 an hour are going to disappear. Everything's going to be different. I have a 3-year-old daughter. When I think about her future, when I think about when she's 18 years old, everything's going to be drastically different, and I want to see really, really epic, interesting conversations that are visionary and actually thinking about the future 15, 20 years from now, because I think that the next 3 years is when we really make a decision about which way that we go.
Thank you. Candace.
I would say the biggest issue this election cycle is that we're starting to hear the word socialism a lot in America. And it is something that I don't think people quite understand what it is. It's killed 100 million people in the last 100 years. If you look at countries like Venezuela, former USSR, and we have people that are making it sound good, which is how these countries tend to vote socialism into their countries before it completely destroys everything the country has. And I would say the second biggest thing for me is that I'm getting tired of the Democrat Party drumming up the same issues every 4 years, taking advantage of the black vote and doing absolutely nothing to fix our communities and expecting us to vote for them again.
All right. Tip.
So to me, I think the main, I'm gonna run down a list of things, but they all kind of coincide together. I think that homegrown terrorism and crazy white boys with AR-15 shooting up innocent people. I also think mass incarceration, the privatized prison industry, the militarization of police and how they interact with the people in our communities, and police brutality. I think all of those things, although they seem separate, I think they coincide. I think they correlate.
Thank you. Mike?
For me, directly speaking for and on the behalf of the African-American community, because I think that when we talk about what's our important issues, a lot of times, a lot of us try to cover broad ground. So I'm supporting Senator Sanders. If you want to know my broad ground answers, it's within his campaign. But from a very acute and very where we are standpoints, African Americans have to be bigger part of the economic landscape of this country. We should be owners and not buyers. We should be a merchant class and not only consumers. We should have and we should use our political leverage power to leverage and broker government contracts on the behalf of us so that we have 15 Atlantas and not one Atlanta. You should be hunting, fishing, shooting, training, and focusing on self-reliance and not simply relying on the people you say to hate to take care of you.
Katrina?
So I would say that the biggest issue that Black Americans face is a severe lack of leadership. He speaks on behalf of young Black people. I'll speak on behalf of all the Black mothers out there because our children are extremely important and no one seems to care. And I think that has to stop. And so I think right now we have an opportunity with a President Trump who has gone far and beyond any other previous administration to impact Black communities directly, Atlanta included. And I think that this lack of leadership in the Black community is what we face because Killer Mike just mentioned our political power. Well, guess what? That power is diminishing every time that they bring more illegal aliens into the country and make them voters.
Tamika?
I think that what is the most critical issue of this time is the idea that this generation becomes comfortable with white supremacy being the law of the land and fascism in our government. I think that that is a very dangerous position for our people to be in, and I think that for young people to believe it is normal for white supremacy to be the law of the land is very scary because it therefore, it stops our potential and our growth, and what we see happening right now is that white supremacy is actually winning. So I think that that's probably one of the most dangerous issues of our time.
Let's get ready to rumble! Y'all have heard 6 people representing the Black community say similar and very different things, and I think that's dope. I think it's dope because all Black people don't want the same thing.
That's right.
And I think the fact that we pretend like all Black people want the same thing makes us crazy and puts us in a position where we can't have the kind of conversations that we're about to have right now. And so the fact that we're hearing different things, to me, is encouraging. The question is, are we mature enough to have a conversation here at Revolt that they never gonna have on MSNBC, CNN, or Fox?
Let's do it.
Because I'm gonna be real serious. If you love Black people, then you gotta be able to look Black people that you disagree with in the eye and talk to them like they're human, instead of yell at them, call them names, or disrespect them. We ain't had none of that shit here. So we getting ready to have a real conversation that only Revolt can have. And I'm excited about the brothers and sisters on this panel that are gonna make that happen. And so what I'd like to get right into is this whole notion of Trap the Vote. Trap the Vote is not just the theme of our panel, but it's an organization. And it's a C3 organization that Steve started. Steve, I'd love to hear why you started this organization and what you want to accomplish in this term, in this election term.
First off, I want to acknowledge that this room feels like the cookout, and I feel super comfortable right now. This is dope. For real. Mike was talking about the potato salad. That's what we're about to cook up right now, right? So I'm a member of a team, and Trap the Vote is about civic engagement. It's about political participation. It's about making sure that young people vote. We talk about youth of culture. When we think about the culture today, the most powerful culture on the planet, hip-hop culture, Black culture that's at the center of it, and every other race of people and young people that are bought into that. When we talk about the fear of gods that Jerry Lorenzo drops and all the white kids get them and all the Black kids wanted them, and we're all a part of the same streams on our Instagram timelines, this is globally powerful. And I believe that we have a lot of cultural power. I think that we've seen an incredible progressive shift over the past 7 years with the rise of many groups all over the country and young people particularly using their voice and talking about things that they care about.
No, go ahead.
Trap the Vote is about bottling that cultural energy and that cultural power and turning it into political power. I don't have an agenda. My agenda is to uplift the voice of young people all over this country because these are the future leaders of this country. And young people, we're listening to them. We're we're doing polls, we're doing surveys, and we're listening to young people, and what we're hearing them say is that they don't feel heard. We're hearing them say that, hey, we're being real loud about the issues that we care about, and our political representation is too polarized, and they're not making anything happen for us. We want to make sure that the 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, up to 35, everybody's voting, that everybody feels powerful, that everybody feels engaged, so that we can usher in a new generation of leadership. We're talking about not only millennials, but Gen Y and Gen Z. This is the future, and the future is right now, and I think that we need to take young people more seriously. So that's what Trap the Vote's about.
So thank you so much for that. So Tamika, I want you to chime in and tip you as well on this. So often in black spaces, the language we use to young people about why they should vote is because somebody died for them to vote. We hear it over and over again. I don't go to the polls because somebody died for me. I appreciate those that came before me. I vote for my babies. I vote for my interests. I vote for my business. And so as we attempt to kind of change this narrative or evolve the narrative as we engage the community, what is the way that we need to do that differently than we have, especially oftentimes when we don't have candidates that are directly inspiring young people to be involved? Tamika and then Tip.
You know, I think that in this moment, we definitely have to be delivered from that old language around who died for us to have our right to vote and all of these different things. It doesn't work. I think in this particular moment, we have to respect the fact that young people are brilliant. They are reading, watching, listening, and paying attention. And whether or not we value their opinions does not mean it does not count. The only way we can bring young people to the table is to talk to them about the issues that are at the center of what they care about. In their communities, police brutality is an issue. Obviously, education is an issue. Jobs are issues. These are the things that they care about. So when we fly in looking fancy and having people that don't know anything about Miss Lucy's water being dirty and don't know anything about what's going on the ground, we are missing them completely. We cannot talk about people without having them as part of the conversation. And more importantly, I feel like so many of our spaces, even black spaces where we are organizing, are too elite for the people who we talk about. So if we are organizing without those who are the strippers, the scammers, the people who have been cast out in our society, if they are not at the front of the conversation, we're just doing something to make ourselves feel good. We're not really doing anything for the people in our communities.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what Tamika said and what you said. I don't think that people should be motivated to vote because of who died for them to vote. I think they should be motivated to vote because of the decisions that are being made affect them and affect the people that they would die for. You understand what I'm saying? I think that one of the main issues is we wait too late to start to try to motivate young people. This should be a conversation in first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way up through high school, not wait until you're 18 and it's the first election after your 18th birthday and then try to explain the importance of voting to you. I think it has to be like a mindset that is developed over time. And also, I mean, I know you said you don't have an agenda, and I appreciate that because we need people like you, but I do have an agenda. My agenda is to liberate my people, teach them to love each other again, revitalize my community, create a self-sustaining, financially stable ecosystem that will be present for generations to come. And you can't do that without putting the proper people in office that have similar interests and a passionate need to fulfill these voids, whether it's education, whether it's employment, whether it's just proper opportunities for us and access, not a seat at the table. We want the motherfucking table. You know what I'm saying? We don't want a seat. And I'm tired of asking. You can never continue to ask the motherfucker who's oppressing you to stop oppressing you. You know what I mean? That shit it only happens by leverage and force. And our leverage is our culture. Our leverage is the power of our dollar. And until we take control of that and redirect that to the places and the people that we need to redirect it towards, then we'll always be in a position where we got our hand out and asking the motherfucker to do something for us.
So with that, because I want to build on that, and Candace and Mike, I'd like you to chime in here. if that is true, and I'd love to hear that if you all think that is true, then we really shouldn't be acquiescing to the agenda of either party. We essentially should be developing an agenda that is ours and forcing them to respond to that. But so often we are simply saying, I want to support Trump or I want to support this candidate, and it becomes a party decision versus forcing them to know what our vote is worth. So I'm interested, because both of you are on different sides of the aisle, how is the best way to engage a two-party system?
I'm on the black side of the aisle.
Well,
we represent two different candidates.
Talk to me about it.
But I'm on the black side of the aisle. I'm on the side wherever the good potato salad is. You know, so we just, I'm gonna let my sister speak first, but I want everyone to know my political interests start and end with how I grew up in Atlanta. So it's just a little foolish for us to say that we don't inspire children by saying someone died for your right, because the people who oppose you glorify their heroes. I am a proud American. Let me say that first. I have no problem saying that because I'm provided an opportunity in this country that I travel around the world other black men and women don't have. Now, it is my responsibility to take that opportunity and create more opportunities by way of economy, by way of having a platform to speak on the behalf of, and by way of making sure my constitutional rights and privileges are honored, which is why you hear me, who stands a lot of times with people on the left, say, I don't give a fuck what them niggas talking about. I'm not giving up my gun for nobody, because the Second Amendment promises me that. I speak and say what I like because the First Amendment promises me that.
So Mike, no, I don't want you to stop. What I want you to do is tell me about the process, because you and Bernie have been riding hard, but I'm interested in knowing what was the conversation.
But it's bigger than Bernie. We're going to keep it local. I'm talking about Atlanta. And what I mean is Atlanta is a black city that succeeded with non-black, with black but non-black total agreement. We had a black paper here that was owned by black Republicans that helped the SCLC promote, which was owned by black liberals. We had black ministers who were ultimately conservative and told Dr. King when he was a young man in the late 50s, hey, I want to start this civil rights campaign. They said, there's Alabama, take your ass on down there and go. It didn't start in Atlanta because Atlanta niggas had some money and they was a little bougie. It started outside Atlanta and came back with young people. So young people, the old people now who you disagree with once were young. And because they did things like took bullets, took beatings, took bashes to the brain, you have that opportunity. So abso-goddamn-lutely, there's a blood oath that's been made. There's been a blood oath made in every American. When we learned about the American Revolution in Collier Heights Elementary in an all-black neighborhood, we did not learn about a white country that simply used us as slaves. We learned that the first person to die on the behalf of this country was a black man named Crispus Attucks. That gives a sense of pride to a black boy. Well, what happens to that black boy then? That little motherfucker grows up and goes to Frederick Douglass High School. Frederick Douglass is the most photographed person of the 19th century, a person who worked with both Democrats and Republicans, who helped free not only black people, but women. He said in 1865, women and black people deserve the right to vote. But I wouldn't know that had I not been educated by a syllabus that was given from Clark University and Dr. Asa Hilliard. I am what you see when you see me and you see Tip Harris is the product of black excellence. We didn't wake up and a nigga started using big words and we sing and dance and all of a sudden we got it figured out. This is a process. You are a part of a process. The same way a Jewish child is a part of a 10,000-year process of keeping a culture. Clarence Avant is the reason you have Sean Combs. It's the reason you would have the next. So never in your black ass life allow your history to be wiped away. Now, after you know I'm dragging my black ass out when I don't feel like it, I don't feel like going to vote, but I'm going to get my black ass up. I'm going to call my black ass friend T.I. I'm going to say, get your black ass up and vote. Take your black ass children to vote so it becomes a habit. Who is your congressman? Who is your senator? Who is your city council person? And if you cannot answer those, you have already failed yourself. Google that and know that it is my responsibility because I stand on the shoulders of others. It is my responsibility because this is my clear and present right now. And it is my responsibility on behalf of my children going forward. And that's simply why I vote.
And I appreciate that. And I think the context, no, I'm serious. I think the context you made between knowing and teaching our history versus the messaging that we're using are two different things, because I totally agree with you. I still have the question for you nonetheless, because I think you have negotiated with people what your support looks like in ways that a lot of us have never negotiated. The same way business people have sat at the table with people and negotiated deals that other people can't negotiate. So I'm curious in knowing, what does the negotiation look like with a candidate when you say, I'm going to give you my support? These are the things that have to be there in order for me to give that. Because I think that's important as we start talking about who we're going to support, and I need to hear that from you.
I mean, if you look at our mayor, I've supported Vincent Forrest, who was a Bernie crat. He put forth along marijuana decriminalization bill. Well, why does marijuana decriminalization matter in Atlanta? I know a lot of young men who are my sons and Tip's son age, they get a bullshit marijuana conviction, all of a sudden their Hope Scholarship ends at Clark, ends at Morehouse, ends at Georgia State. I wanted to make sure that that couldn't happen to a young man again. I told her when she was on city council, if you can get city council, if you guys support that decriminalization bill, you have my full and total support. And I would like to publicly say, man, me and T.I. stood out in the rain on those steps that day and that morning and gave those speeches on her behalf, because we saw her come closer to the progressive chain of thought that we wanted. And after doing it, Atlanta followed. Clarkston was ahead of us, but you see other counties like DeKalb, Gwinnett now decriminalizing. That comes directly out of local politics with Vincent Ford. That comes directly out of us sitting down talking to candidates. And in terms of national candidates, if your national policy appeals or I see it can work for my people in some way, you have my support, but you also have my honesty. And my honesty is always going to tell you what I do and what I don't support, or like black folks say, what I do and what I don't fuck with. If I fuck with more of what you do, I fuck with you. If I don't, I'm going to go quiet as your wife when she mad.
Candace, same thing on the other side. How are we negotiating? What is the negotiation tactics so that we're not acquiescing to somebody else's agenda, but being clear about ours in the process of giving them our support?
Well, I would say the first thing is that it's important to identify what our agenda actually is. And I think that the most important thing for people in this room to understand is that there is a very small window. Right now, the black vote is the most important vote in the country. There's a very small window before our vote's not going to matter. These conferences won't matter, and us sitting here won't matter, because illegal immigration, if you're looking at the numbers, every new birth in this country, 60% of all new births are Hispanic Americans, and the Democrats are about, listen, you're saying, let me get to the point. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. I say illegal is the new black because it's true, and there's a reason why they're advocating for open borders. Right now, our vote means a lot, but new births of black Americans have stagnated. The population growth within black America has stagnated. So the things that I pay attention to are the numbers. I pay attention to the birth rates in this country, which is why I'm pro putting something down to stop illegal immigration. The second thing that I think is really important, and you may have heard me testify in front of Congress, is the illiteracy rates that are facing black America. 75% of black boys in California can't pass a reading exam. Across Baltimore, they looked at 5 schools. They couldn't find a single black boy that was a single black child that could pass a basic reading or a math exam. So I caught a lot of slack because I said this is the Democrat plantation, but I meant what I said. If you look historically at what the plantations were when we were slaves, there were 3 things that were necessary for them to run. The first was our ignorance. Black Americans were not allowed to learn how to read unless we would have our limbs chopped off. And that was because an educated mind cannot be enslaved. So the fact that our schools are in this condition in the inner cities and all throughout America and not a single candidate is talking about it is problematic to me. I think that that's a huge negotiating tool for me. We need to be talking about the inner city schools. Another component, and this is the biggest issue that I think is facing black America today, which was important to maintaining the plantations, was the breakdown of family. The biggest issue facing black America is father absence. We have children that are growing up without their fathers in the home, and that is being incentivized by the government right now via the welfare system. When the government says we'll give you more money if you don't marry the father of your children, you are incentivizing bad behavior in our community. What happens when you remove a father from the home? This is why I do not mess with feminism at all. I'm not with it. This breakdown and mocking masculinity, making it seem like there's something wrong to be a man, all of this contributes to the breakdown of family. When you remove...
y'all, hey, hold on. So, hold on, brother, hold on. There's going to be an opportunity for each of you to engage, but I want to make sure this sister has the right to talk while she's here. That's why we invited her. So let her say what she needs to say, and then let's keep it moving. Come on, y'all.
The single motherhood rate in the 1960s in Black America, and they thought that...
Now, hold on. I want to finish this. This is on your behalf. At a certain point, we can't be assholes. At a certain point, these are black men and women, and in particular, these are black women. On some real G shit. It doesn't matter how you feel about her personally. Everything she has just said, Louis Farrakhan said for the last 25 fucking years. So with no. And I don't know if she's a fan of Farrakhan. I know me and Tamika are. Bam. But you cannot take the truth and be mad at who tells it to you. So just chill, bruh. Shut the fuck up. Let her say it and receive the information. That's it. I apologize. I digress.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you so much for
Listen,
saying what
I want you to continue because I was listening.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been turned into public enemy number one. I say the same thing when I hit every stage. The single motherhood rate in the black community in the 1960s, before Lyndon Baines Johnson started the Great Society Act, was 23%. At that time, that was considered very high. 23% of black people growing up without a father in the home. The single motherhood rate in the black community today is 74%. 74% of our children are growing up without a father in the home. It was Barack Obama, who I don't even really have anything for, who told you what happens when you remove a father from the home. You're 9 times more likely to end up in prison. You're 6 times more likely to drop out of high school, and you're 12 times more likely to lead a life of poverty. Why is nobody talking about father absence, and why do we keep being silenced when we actually do? This is what black conservatism is, by the way. It's really not. It's not that controversial.
So Tip, I'm gonna let you come in a second, but I want to make sure I get Katrina in here, and then we're gonna open this up a little bit, because at some point I hear all of this, but the issue is we still got to elect people and we still got to create power from the local level, state, and national. And so there's a plan that has to be at play for us to be able to deal with some of this stuff. So Katrina, I want to hear from you as you've been engaged in this current administration. What is it about this administration that makes you so confident that it has the ability to deliver what a black community that this president is often in opposition to can't?
Well, I think that's a great question. And it leads to what I said was the biggest gap in the black community, and that is this vacuum of leadership. When I first met President Trump, and I had heard him years before he actually ran for office talk about certain things that I felt were really important to me as a black mother, not just as an American or as a voter. But what he has done since he's been elected is he's proven himself. He has given more money to HBCUs. He just eliminated $300 million of debt from hurricane relief from HBCUs, just gave them another $100 billion more, on top of what no one wants to talk about, like those at MSNBC and CNN, are opportunity zones. There are 9,000 opportunity zones that was established by the Trump administration, including probably 24 counties right here in Atlanta, in this state, in Fulton County, where he has put up hundreds of billions of dollars of investment into black communities. Not just impoverished communities, but black communities. And to me, you put your money where your mouth is. This president has done that. So what you should do, all the young people in the room, we've heard we don't have a voice. We hear disenfranchisement. Well, guess what? Who has been in charge of these communities for the last 4 to 5 decades?
Democrats.
Exactly.
So wait a minute, no, wait, because I'm loving
That's
where we're
not
going.
accurate.
I'm loving where we're going. And I love the fact that, to me, promise zones sound a whole lot like empowerment zones from the Clintons. And neither party delivered on making sure that legitimate development took place in our communities. And so I'm interested, Tip, in you coming in, especially on this economic piece.
Sure.
How do we begin to really deal with that? Because the federal government creating zones has normally been the places where gentrification starts first.
Okay, that was my point. I had a question for both of you young ladies, and you and Candace, we spoke many times, and you're a brilliant young lady. But my question to you is, how is it that you can support yourself? I mean, that you can support and align with a constituency that will not denounce white supremacy? So that means your son or daughter, or or any of your brothers or any of your family members, if they are caught out there by a policeman who is in a covert, undercover white supremacist and get gunned down, this constituency will have absolutely nothing to say about it.
Please let
So
me
how
answer
can
this
you
question.
support that?
Please
That's
let me
what I
answer
don't
this
understand.
question.
And we can't, and although what you're saying is a lot of the things that you're saying are absolutely factual, a lot of the things that you're saying have merit, but I can't even get to that before I address
I will address
the
it right now.
disregard
I'll
for
address
young
it right
black
now.
lives.
I love
and
it.
we will not
I love
speak
it.
up on it at all.
Love this question. I will
All
address
of the
it.
things
T.I.,
that you
I love
spoke
it.
on, from opportunity zones.
I love that
to-
we're talking about white
Okay,
supremacy.
excuse
I'll
me.
answer the question.
I say, excuse me. I didn't interrupt you. If I may. You talking about opportunity zones, and I will never have anything negative to say about the financial benefits, the tax breaks that come from the Republican Party. I'm a rich person, and
You
I
white folk
appreciate.
rich.
You dig what I'm saying?
I'm Negro rich.
Hey, listen. I appreciate all of the different tax breaks and the opportunity zone benefit, but
It's
what
called
we
a crooked clock is right twice
whatever.
a day.
You're
That's
right,
what it's
right.
called.
I get that. But what we must understand when we're talking about opportunity zone, and we're giving the credit to the person who pushed that legislation forward, which it started with Tim Scott, a black man who happens to be a Republican out of South Carolina. That's who wrote the legislation and presented it. However, the present president, if you can call him that, he did allow it to go through. But that in order to benefit from opportunity zones, you have to have capital gains taxes. It ain't many black people in these opportunity zones
But they
that
have
have
jobs.
capital gains taxes
The
to
jobs.
be able to reap the benefits of these things. Therefore, it will be billionaire corporations, other people who ain't from these communities coming in here building shit that we don't need, doing shit that don't help us. But they do that so they can shelter their taxes. Now, I've been investing in opportunity zones all my motherfucking life. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be damned if anybody gonna benefit from it and it ain't gonna be me. So, but I actually know the need of the community. You have these systems in place, but the people who have the most ability to take advantage and who are readily able to take advantage are the people who have absolutely no genuine interest to do anything to support this community that they're coming into. There's no real tangible investment. They're just doing it to shelter their tax dollars.
So thank you, Tip. Well, hold on, Katrina. I want Candace to talk about your first point, and then Katrina, you respond to the second point.
All right, so to tackle the white supremacy thing, your question was a fallacy because you said you insinuated that he has not denounced white supremacy.
He hasn't.
Somebody please, go to his Twitter feed right now. Right now,
He
go
said,
back to
"Who
the
is the
shootings."
KKK?
He said, no, because we got to tell the truth.
He
I do
said,
not
"Who
stop.
is the
Don't
KKK?"
now you're cutting me off, right? There we go. Now we're even.
What he said was that.
So listen.
What he said was that there was good.
No.
on both
Let me
sides
finish.
of white
Stop.
supremacy. That's what
Because
he
you guys
said.
are so
That's
hung
not what he
up
said.
on
That's not what he
Charlottesville,
said. What he said.
and nobody heard the entire clip. I want to talk about why we get manipulated. I'm being serious, guys. I'm not even trying to make this like a contentious moment, because this is literally why Black America loses right here. Because we
they're
allow
stupid?
people with cameras to go hear a whole speech, like they do this to me all the time. they take out a couple of sentences you said, and they create a whole new headline. And people that were not there get incensed and get emotional and don't actually go back to hear what was actually said in full context. They do it to me all the time. I know they do it to Trump. He has denounced white supremacy so many times. It's something north, somebody counted, of 24 times, and it's on his Twitter feed. So if you want to fact check me, go back to a couple of weeks ago when the shootings happened. He said, America is no place for white nationalism and white supremacy, and it's an issue that has to be tackled. I'm paraphrasing. You can go find it.
Although
so
he calls himself a nationalist.
He calls himself
Wait,
a
wait,
nationalist.
stop.
You can fact check me. I'm either lying to your face. You can go on Twitter right now. You can do it live.
So which one do you want us to believe? The first thing he says or what he says after the media comes after him?
No, I'm talking about
because the first thing he said was that there was...
you're asking a different question than T.I. did. T.I. said, how can you work with an administration that has never denounced white supremacy? You're talking about Charlottesville.
I'm talking about talking points that come out later. But what he starts with is racism. That's what comes out his mouth when he starts.
See?
We
And let me
can
tell
look
you
at
something.
how many mass shootings by white supremacists.
And let me tell you why the black vote is the easiest vote for Democrats to keep for the last 60 years. All they have to do to get our vote, let me tell you something. If people know what you fear, you are the easiest person to control. The Democrats have figured out that black America is emotionally responsive to the word racism. She says racism, you jump up and you start cheering. You haven't even listened to what I've said to rebut it, okay?
Cheer.
But it's the
100%. The biggest issue, let me finish. The biggest issue facing black America is not white supremacy. When Trump said there were good people on both sides, he was talking about the fact that some people that were in the Charlottesville rally, and he could have paraphrased that better, he could have said something better, literally came there because they don't believe that statues should be torn down, okay? Other people came there because they were upset that amongst the people that came there to watch the statue be torn down were also white nationalists. So what he meant was there were some people that were just there using their First Amendment right. There were some people that were there to respond to the white nationalists, and a big mess happened. I'm not trying to defend him or relitigate a situation. I'm saying that being hung up on that is allowing you to not look at an administration that is tackling so many issues in black America right now. I do not consider myself a Republican. I definitely am not a Democrat, but Trump woke me up. I used to be liberal. Trump woke me up to the idea that we're being manipulated by the word racism every 4 years.
So wait.
Every 4 years. They call everybody racist.
All right. We're gonna get into this because what I'm concerned about is how is that any different than the fear that Trump has created in poor whites? The fear that Trump has lifted in poor whites, that black people and poor urban people are their problem.
Right.
When did Trump ever say that? That's a fallacy. When did Trump ever say black people are the problem?
Make America great again. That's when he said it.
Guys,
I'm not on the panel, so I want to make
Ronald Reagan's slogan. Was that racist when Ronald Reagan had it as a slogan?
Yes, what time?
It was.
Yes, let me ask you.
So that
please
slogan
answer
is
this.
racist.
Please answer this. I have a question. Please just allow me just one outburst. Please. I have a question. When you say make America great again, which period are we talking about? The period when women couldn't vote? The period when we were hanging from trees?
I'll answer.
Or like the crack era? Which period in America are you trying to make America like again?
I actually think that I would totally rock a hat right now that said make black America great again. Because black America...
make America. We're talking about make America. That wasn't the question.
I am answering your question.
Which period was America great that we're trying to replicate? Which era was it? Tell me.
I think I'll answer your question.
I'm
ready to answer your question.
Which era was it?
What?
Which era was so great?
Here's the thing that you guys are forgetting. America was actually one of the... Slavery was all over the world. All over the world. America was... I'm not saying it's okay, so why are you saying, oh?
Hey, man.
America was one of the first countries...
I want to like you so bad.
I'm trying to answer your question.
Smart. I want to like you so much.
I want to hear you. I want to be able to hear them. I want to be able to hear them.
If I can't answer the question and you're just going to boo when I say slavery was all over the world, which is a fact, why are you booing a fact?
Because you're making light of...
No, I'm not.
You're making light of the enslavement of people that look like us. You can't make light of that. That ain't nothing you breeze over.
I haven't even finished the sentence. How am I making light of anything?
You started with some bullshit.
Okay.
So Candace.
Candace,
hold on, wait.
We can be emotional,
Candace,
we can
wait,
boo, you
no,
can
hold
cheer,
on,
but I'm telling you right now, the black
Candace,
vote is
hold
not
on.
going to matter
So, Mike,
after the next about 5 years if you don't start
Katrina,
paying attention to what I'm saying to you.
Katrina,
Because I'm trying to tell you guys the truth.
Candace,
the absolute
we
truth
got
about
you.
what is happening in black America. You are being used, abused, and lied to and manipulated emotionally by the Democrat Party. That is what I am here to tell you. You want to keep
Candace,
uprising and talking about racism when they're taking our fathers out of the home, when they're making
said
welfare.
that already.
No.
We got you.
Because
Candace,
we're
it's
seeing it
cool,
happen
man.
right
Hold on
here.
one second.
Right
Hold
here.
on
I'm
one second.
telling you it, and you're
got
being
you.
responsive because I can't finish a sentence
So,
about what I was
Katrina,
going to say about
Katrina,
slavery.
Disagree.
Katrina.
Everyone in
Because
totality
you started with some
disagrees.
bullshit. Oh, and
You
that's
did.
culture,
That was
man.
some
That's not
bullshit.
intellectual. That's culture.
I need you to come in because this point is dead. And so I want us to talk about this issue of money and who's coming into the community and what that money means for the
I
community.
mean, this is really a lot to unpack. First, there's a lot of things that need to be clarified. First, you don't need to fact check Candace or anybody else on what Trump actually said. Call Jake Tapper at CNN because he already fact checked it and
using
said
Jake
he was
Tapper?
pulled out of context. So it's already been fact checked in the media, number one. Number two,
Oh my God.
I think hundreds, if not thousands by now, of young black men will be going home for Christmas because of criminal justice reform put in place by President Donald J. Trump. That impacts the
Why
black
is nobody
community
applauding that? Like,
in a major way.
Absolutely.
I mean, like the three
People
strikes
are
rule
being
done by the
released from
Democrats.
prison
Trump
who have
reversed
been given harsh sentences. People have been in there for far too long. And you know how that happened? Because black people who are woke went to the Oval Office and said, how can we help black America? President Trump says, whatever I can do, I'll do it. You want your basketball players coming back from China? I'll help you with that. You want ASAP Rocky? I'll make that phone call. Come
the hell outta
to
here,
the table.
cuz.
He did.
He
See,
is
that's what I'm
willing
saying,
to
man.
help. T.I., look.
Man. See,
T.I.,
that's what I'm saying.
T.I.,
You
look.
just
No,
did it.
listen.
You just did
T.I.,
it.
look.
And if you listen
I'm
to a
telling
person
you,
talk long
he
enough, they will reveal
do
themselves
whatever
to
is
you.
asked of
You
him.
just did it. You just did it. You just did it. You just showed that what they did was they manipulated black people by thinking that if we
not
don't get this
manipulation.
person out of jail,
That's
that
not
you'll
a
think I'm cool
manipulation.
with you.
You
It
come
was an
to the
opportunity.
president of the
Baby,
United
I am
States.
from the ghetto. I have been peeping game for a
Exactly.
long time. I
Then
know
you
when
should
shit
know
ain't
better.
right.
Then you should know
I
better.
know when shit ain't right.
This is why you should know better.
Trump is
T.I.,
damned
how
if he
many
does and
jobs-
damned if he
But
how
I
many
do agree
jobs
with
are
the criminal
created?
justice. I do
How many
agree.
jobs are
I
created?
agree with the
Opportunity
criminal
zones.
justice reform. He has done great
Look,
things.
you
But-
invest in
but
opportunity
it's all
zones.
it's from an opportunist perspective.
Oh, okay.
No, wait. I want
Trump
Mike.
helps, he's an
Candace,
opportunist.
hold on one
If he
second.
doesn't help, he's a
I want
racist.
Mike to come in on this. I want Mike to come
Such
on this.
crap, man. If Trump helps, he's an opportunist. If he doesn't help, he's a racist.
Mike, I
This
want
is
you to come on
ridiculous.
this.
There's
and then I
no
wanna-
winning
I wanna
here.
hear from-
No, he's an opportunist and a racist.
Oh,
all
at the same
same
exact time. So damned if he does,
One or the
damned if
other.
he doesn't. You want to know why we
Mike.
can't have progress?
This
Damned
is
if he
why.
does, damned
This
if he
is
doesn't.
why Black America cannot move forward.
Exactly right, man.
Because you have somebody
See, that-
willing
but
to put
that's
in
another
fight.
lie. That's another
It's
lie.
another
Black
lie.
America has been moving forward
No, it
generation
hasn't.
by generation.
No, it
It's
hasn't.
for
How is that so?
millionaires,
How is that so?
white boys,
How is that so?
No, it
more
hasn't.
self-sufficient
No, it
black
hasn't.
people. This forum was brought to you
Hold
by
on.
a black man.
Listen,
You understand that?
listen.
And it was happening
Don't
before
say, you
Trump
ain't gonna
became
let you tell my
president.
children black people ain't moving
Hold
forward.
on.
We have been
Listen,
declining
hold
since
on.
the 1960s
Are your
in
children-
every
Hold on.
major
T.I.
statistic.
Let Mike
We
go.
are not
Mike,
moving
hello.
forward.
Mike,
Do not let him
Candace,
tell you
Candace.
that lie.
T.I.
Mike,
wait,
Mike,
wait.
hold on,
T.I.
Katrina.
T.I. Are your kids
Katrina.
in public
Mike
school
has
or
been
private
sitting here
school?
listening to all of y'all talk. Mike,
Both.
go ahead, brother.
Both.
Brother, go ahead.
Niggas.
Go ahead.
Niggas. Niggas. Nigga. Stop it. Stop. Everybody hush. Hush. And listen. Because I'm about to give you the secret to what the fuck y'all are witnessing. What you niggas, N-E-G-U-S, of the royal kind, and niggas, N-I-double-G-S, what y'all are seeing right now are free people arguing over who got the best master. Oh yeah. So, we're going to go back to silent. Let's register this shit back down. We're going to lock this back down. So I'll tell you when America was great. 7 years after the ending of the Civil War.
Exactly what
Hold, Candace, because you didn't give the comment, so you weren't prepared for that one. No, but that's not to jump on Candace, because again, I'm disagreeing with my friend. 7 years after the end of Civil War, blacks within 7 to 15 years accumulated over 15 million acres of land. Hold on, before we get to clapping, because the niggas bought some shit. Black people were the only skilled labor in there. So if it was welding to be done, iron bending, cotton picking, it was black people. So instantly, your value became more. And Candace has a point. The point that she made about illegal immigration affecting you is that it's going to affect you at some point. Why? If the Kegel Chicken Factory is hiring illegal immigrants at an undercut on the rate, it affects the black people who live there who should be demanding $20 an hour because they're being undercut. So when they get wiped out, they have to hire blacks, pay them, and unionize. So she's right on that. But hold the fuck on, I'm not finished. You have to remember that people who look like you immigrate too. So before you widely say, fuck them all, remember, America is always going to have a slave class. And if illegal immigrants or legal immigrants will not be the lowest paid workers, those in prison will be, and that always ends up looking like one of their sons. So it circles back around. So that's why people who are black, who are from 2 different plantations, got to get the fuck away from massa long enough to say, how are we going to burn down both their fucking houses? Now, this is my thought. I don't care if you destroy the Republican or Democratic Party, because at one time, blacks were Republicans. And you dominated those 7 years after the Civil War. You were Republicans. You had more blacks in the House and Senate than you do now, and you dominated your own economic communities. You did that as Republicans. As Democrats, you did the same in cities like Atlanta. You failed in other cities. But the most important thing is self-organizing. By the time we get to a candidate, we should have a list that says white man, white woman, these are our demands. You can meet them and get our vote, or not, and we're going to stay home and crochet and make collard greens. But what you cannot do is continue to argue over who is the best master. I don't give a fuck if it's Trump, Obama, your mama, my mama. What the fuck do you have for me and my community? Now, if you do not, and if you stop playing, oh, I'm going to say the snazziest shit to each other on stage, I'm going to show that motherfucker this is going to be a quotable, and we close up the doors, and we simply say, how do we take the good of what you have, the good of what you have, the good of what you have and you have, how do we shape it into a 10-point agenda to present to every local, state, and national politician? If you cannot meet points on our agenda, we simply can't support you. I like you. I love your casinos, Mr. Trump. I like you, Bernie. I like maple syrup that comes from Vermont. But what do you have for us? Now, when talking about have black people done better, we keep doing better and we keep getting knocked down. We keep doing better and we keep doing knocked down. So I'm going to tell people, this is your homework. Fuck trying to convince you. I want you to go home tonight. I want you to listen to Thomas Sowell. I want you to listen to, hold on, I got you coming. You look, my nigga. All right.
Yes,
so,
right there.
I want you to listen to Walter E. Williams.
Yes.
I want you to listen to Antonio Moore. I want you to listen to Yvette Carnell. I want you to listen to the economic strategy of Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey. I want you to listen to the political strategy of Stokely Carmichael. I need you to get on your study and prove yourself worthy shit, because I'm tired of arguing who got the best master. You are already free. Now, nigga, act like it. Do your research. Your research and decide what's best for you, because what's best for us in Atlanta was a black man who said, okay, I'm the mayor now. You want to do business with Atlanta, meaning you want to have an opportunity zone? 29% of all government contracts had to be attached to black people. When he found out that there were no black architectural firms, he said, black people build driveways, we can build airport runways. So he gave the white architectural firms the rights to build the airport. The fucking Herman Russell Company laid the plane. So my thing is, as black people, how are we going to get in a room together, stop fighting over who's master, decide what our agenda is, and how to leverage it? I don't care who agrees with Cap or Jay-Z. I cared that black people as a whole showed up to work that day. What if nobody would have showed up to work? What if everybody said, you know what, fuck it, my nigga? What if everybody on the same day would have done that? If everybody, every policeman, every beer salesman, every car parker, every NFL analyst would have not showed up. Until we ready to do that, we're not serious about being free.
That's real.
You just here to see a show and argue over who got the best master. Until we decide what is the real breaking point. If blacks are 15% of this nation, we should be 15% of Wall Street. We should be 15% of music execs, 15% of Hollywood execs, 15% of governors, 15% of mayors. And until you hit that 15%, you're failing, fucking failing, no matter who your master is. So pick a better master. I say kill your masters and get your own shit.
Yeah.
Now, one of y'all has the unfortunate responsibility of going next. Because as Mike lays that down, we got a choice to make. We got a choice to make to continue doing what Mike just said we was doing, or we got a conversation that shifts as a result of that, and as opposed to being divided on lines that don't really matter, beginning to talk about how we move forward differently. And I'm interested in hearing who wants to respond to what Mike said, to talk about how we either make that shift or continue down that road.
I got chills on my body listening to you talk right now, bro. And I think a lot of other people do too. Because you're talking about power. You're talking about the definition of politics. When you say 15%, I want to hear 15% or more, and I know that we could do it. I'm listening to this conversation. I'm listening to the reactions of people out here. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that my mama ain't stupid. I'm thinking my aunties and my cousins ain't stupid. I'm thinking that my friends aren't stupid, right? Black people aren't dumb. So when we're talking about semantics and words and what people say, black people, we're about vibrations. Why are we here? We're here because Puff invited us. That's music. That's vibrations. We know when somebody's saying something, and we know when something ain't right. You know when you taste that potato salad and something different is in it. Something's wrong, right? What's Congress's approval rating right now? Maybe 15%? So we're having a conversation right now about people that are unhappy with both sides, and that's what's really going on. I want to see a conversation move forward. I'm hearing truth from both sides. I might be progressive leaning. I'm listening to young people every day. Young people are progressive. Young people want to see some other shit. Young people are tired of polarized lines and people that are older than them saying the same shit every single day and dealing with the same thing, or things getting worse every year. We're tired of that. We want to see the conversation move forward. We want to see power.
So Tamika, yesterday I heard you talk about the difference between an activist and an organizer, and how organizers begin to engage to pull people together when activists are talking about what it is they care about. This seems like an organizing moment to me. And so as Mike started talking about this, we could lose this in loving what Mike said, and we all still leave and do the same shit. And so as you listen with your organizing mind, I want to know what you're hearing, and even where you're willing to start shifting different to be able to get closer to what Mike is talking about than the debate that we were having prior to that.
You know, I think that it is absolutely true that we need to be in the room having conversations with people who we may not agree with, right? Black people are not a monolith, and I think that's why we keep losing, because we keep trying to force all black people into one square, and that is not possible. So I agree 100% that we need to be going in rooms together. What we can't do is go in rooms with lies. We can't go into rooms talking about things that are absolutely 100% not true, and our communities know it. I would challenge everyone here to really be able to look at yourself and say, in what communities do you talk to that tell you that there are jobs, right? So the whole big thing is that this administration has given us jobs. Well, I'm going to let you know that Ray Ray and Keisha that I meet with on street corners across America, they don't have these jobs. So when we go into rooms and try to have conversations and meetings with people to have a meeting of the mind, and we tell them that this party or that particular individual has helped to get us jobs, they are not going to listen to you. So we need to make sure, again, that our people are at the forefront of the conversation and that their issues are what we are taking into account first and foremost. Not an agenda of anyone else, but as you said, an agenda that belongs to us. I am not here to argue the facts of whether or not the Dems or the Republicans or any other party is right for us. We actually need our own damn party. You talk about what Minister Farrakhan has been telling us for so long. We need our own party. And the only way to be able to get there is not uniformity, but it is a certain level of unity among our people where we can sit at the table and say that we can come together for one thing at one time. I'm going to give you an example, and then I'll move on. When we talk about organizing, so we had our sister Shakisha Clemens. She was attacked by police officers inside of a Waffle House. And she was abused by police, derobed. We all saw it. It was on camera. It was completely out of line. When we went to Waffle House and asked them, what do you feel about what police officers did in your restaurant? And later on, we found out that the employees were responsible, directly responsible for what happened to her. They said, we don't care about it. We're not interested in it. When we came back to black folks and said, we're canceling Waffle House, everybody starts looking around saying, well, I don't know how I'm going to, be involved in that. I don't like that plan. Who said? Who's the leader? How are we doing? The bottom line is if we had pulled our money from Waffle House, they would have known and other corporations would have been able to see, don't play games with our community. So while we may not all do the same things, we may not all agree with the same tactics, what we have to be able to look at is how our power of us working together can make a difference in our communities that no one, not a Republican nor Democratic leader, has ever been able to do, because what it works for us is a bottom-up strategy. It is the people's voice that really has always led our communities. And that's what I think we need to be focused on as organizers.
You make a hell of a point about the Waffle House thing, because I remember when you and Tip made me aware of it. The conundrum of certain things is this, as a Southerner, and especially. We have to start to say, all right, you got AK-47s, they shoot every, Tip owns some of those back in the day. My bad. And then you got sniper rifles that target. My opinion on the Waffle House targeting was we should have targeted that Waffle House. We should have put that Waffle House out of business. We should have pulled funding from that Waffle House. And people say, well, why not all Waffle Houses? Because in places like Atlanta, if I'm a felon just coming home from a 20-year sentence because of Joe Biden and that bullshit bill that him and Hillary put forth, right? One of the only places that will hire me is the Waffle House. As a felon, they'll hire me. Then I can become a grill master, which is right under manager, then become manager. And actually, I know a couple felons that are general managers. So if those black men and women can't get hired at other places, can't work in the warehouse, it's all that. Well, hold on, my son, because again, I'm speaking as a Southerner, where poor people have to work. I would have put that Waffle House out of business because I can count 50 that employ 10 other black people, and then we talking about closing 500 jobs because of what happened. And we have to know the full ramifications. That woman was asked to pay for silverware. Most Waffle Houses say, here you go, don't worry about it. They have a policy where they can charge you 50 cents. The white woman was a fucking asshole who did that to her. The white woman called the police, had her fucked up. It was wrong to do.
That they have a policy that
they have a policy.
You have to pay.
They do. No.
That you don't.
You're supposed to.
Some of them.
Some
of them.
It's
discretionary.
Yes, but that white woman is obviously a fucking racist. And the only thing, like Chappelle tried to tell us, she has in her white precious life is at least I'm not a nigger.
Yeah.
And at least I can make them pay. But what I'm saying is I couldn't get on board totally, not because I like Waffle House, which that's obvious. I would I would have put so many black people out of work that I had to sit on the edge of my bed and say to my wife, well, if we do it, I know I'm going to put people out of work. And at that point, I had to say, well, I'm going to target that Waffle House. I'm going to speak on her behalf. I'm going to talk specifically about them. But I couldn't wipe all of Waffle House down.
Okay, let me say this to you.
Before you go there, Tamika,
I did something.
Because,
I actually did something.
But can I just, wait.
That's a fair point, Mike.
Because what I don't want to happen is for us to get so deep into the Waffle House piece that we're missing what we're doing. And hold on, Tamika, I'm with you. You know I'm with you. But what we're doing right now is we are arguing tactics and strategy about a specific issue.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And I apologize.
And if we're going to do this thing, then those are the kind of things we do behind closed doors before we start. So that we got the ability to be able to get the most people mobilized with us and make the greatest impact.
So
what I want to make sure we do, Tip, real quick.
This is what usually happens.
I want to make sure that we get questions from them.
But let me just respond quickly to what you're saying. Then what do you do about Anthony Wall for the abuse of black people happening across their network?
Absolutely.
So I'm just wondering what you have to say about that.
My thing is, we are going to have to come up with new and specific. First time me and Tip ever talked to Dick Gregory, he cursed us out for 45 minutes. He cursed us out because I think Tip said, well, should we march? Nigga, march? What the fuck you gonna march for, nigga? We marched 50 years ago. Ain't your niggas talk?
I asked the man, so what do we do? How can we get better?
It's over, nigga. Nothing. Shut the fuck up. But what it made me realize is we're now in a time where the old tactics have to be revisited. They have to be targeted. What can you do about police brutality? One thing you can do is run for local elections, and you can start making it so that you can sue the police pensions, the police unions, and beyond the city. So, because when the city pay, they just paying with your money. Pay with the policeman money. We want the pension money. We want your retirement money if you're found guilty. If a judge lets a police officer next, you elect judges. Go to the next election and exit that motherfucker from the bench. If you don't let me tell you a big reason I will never vote for a prosecutor. Because you were a fucking prosecutor. That's it. If you were a prosecutor, you were just on the wrong side. So as for me and my household, we vote for defenders, we vote for public service, but we don't vote for prosecutors because I know you've been a part of the system that's already fucked me over. Why would I vote for you? That doesn't make any sense.
So Mike, but the other piece is we got to play chess, right?
Yes.
So it's not one thing or another.
That's not chess.
No, but the other piece is that we know that police officers don't get convicted not because of judges and prosecutors, but the law says that use of force is that I can shoot you based on how I feel.
We have to rewrite law. Why is nobody, you know what we should be talking about right now? Ratifying the 13th Amendment.
But I was getting ready to say.
Nobody
the
on this
13th
panel,
Amendment, exactly.
Nobody on this panel would have an argument saying slavery should be illegal.
Right.
The 13th Amendment gives the greatest incentive to lock us up than anything in the United States Constitution. Nobody, not me, not Candace, not Tip, none of us have said at any point, you know the one thing we can rally around, let's get the 13th Amendment amended.
And the 5th Amendment says that we are still 3/5 human. So the entire Constitution right now has areas in it that still applies to us as being slaves.
So speaking of constitutional shit that happens, we know that there's going to be redistricting in a census that happens next year.
It's going to be what?
And on the other side, redistricting that's based on the census that happens next year. Black folks are already being tricked about showing up, not showing up, giving information to census counters, not doing it, how we're engaged in that process. So before we open this up, because we've talked about a number of things, I want to know how important, especially around this issue of gerrymandering, is the census and what do we need to be talking about, because this gerrymandering piece is the party piece. So I'd love to hear, Candace, from you on this issue of redistricting and the census. And then, Tip, I'd love to hear from you. And then I want to open the floor to you all to be able to engage this panel.
Well, I'm going to bring it back to what I said earlier. I think if you want to talk about a foreign threat to our election process, we shouldn't be talking about Russia. We should be talking about illegal immigration, because the census, let me finish my thoughts, the census that is conducted, they don't ask if you're a U.S. citizen. So when they figure out the districts and how many votes you get electorally, they're including illegal immigrants that are not American citizens. So
Candace,
people are giving more electoral votes.
Despite what's wrong with it, it's going to happen, correct?
Well, no, actually, there's a great organization called Judicial Watch run by Tom Finn, and they're fighting it.
But as of now, it is going to happen.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that...
As of now, the census is going to happen. There has not yet been a law change that is going to change
Yeah,
it.
that's correct.
And if it does happen, which is scheduled to, it is going to impact people in here that look like this based on redistricting, correct?
It impacts everybody. It's not just black people.
We are talking to this audience.
No, I know. I'm just making... I want to be as clear, because not everything, and gerrymandering would be one thing, is a black or white issue. This is not something that's a black or white issue. It's an American issue. And I think it's important that at times where we can stop making everything black versus white, and we can actually talk about things that are impacting America, that we just do it.
But
Like,
Candace,
I think
you
it's
keep
okay.
talking about everything wrong with black people.
Well, we're not here, but Jeff.
You have started and led
No,
with
I'm
everything
saying regarding
wrong with black people.
gerrymandering, I don't think that's a black or white issue. I really don't. So
The
that's my
issue
answer.
is that
But we do know
it may not be a black or white issue, but it's absolutely a black issue for us, right? So this room wants to know how, your question I'm hearing is how the census count impacts our people.
And what we can do
and what
to
we can
ensure
do.
that it impacts us positively.
I think with the quick points are that number one, there is a narrative that has been basically created by propaganda that tells you that we shouldn't be counted. That when people come to your door to count you, you may be arrested, and all of these different fear-mongering tactics that is going to try to keep us from participating in the census. The danger of that is that what comes out of the census is how resources are distributed in your local community. So not participating in the census is not going to be the boogeyman strategy for everyone else. I think Candace's point is right, that it becomes the black or white issue when the resources go to the white community because they have convinced us that we should not do the work in our communities. The reality is that no one is going to suppress or try to suppress a vote or a count if they don't understand the power of it. So anything that people are telling you should not participate in, especially folks from what we consider to be the other side, when they are trying to tell you that you should not participate in something, you always have to question, why is it that white folks are getting counted in their communities, that they are voting in the ways in which they should, and our communities are being told not to participate?
Because the illegals are flooding the black community.
The illegals are
all right, you all. So
No.
I want to hear from you all.
I don't agree with that.
I want to hear from you all. We got a mic right here. And we've got folks coming to ask questions, and we got a long line. So if you can ask your question as quickly as possible so we can get as many in.
CEO of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
Can't hear him.
Honorable Malcolm X said, we suffer from political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. I believe for us to end our political oppression, we need political unity. This is a healthy debate, but I think we're approaching it too micro and not enough macro. I believe if we're going to unify, we got to unify first around nationality. So my question is, Tip knows this. We spoke about it in your race outside my office. Tamika knows this. We spoke about this for years. Puff, we want to bring this to you. We need a black vote day. Not a vote day about Democrat or Republican. We need to vote about who we are as a people. Are we Africans in America? Are we Pan-Africans? Are we Moors? Are we Nation of Islam? Who is our nationality? What is our flag? What is our Constitution? What are our bylaws? What are our values? And so what I'm saying to the panel, with us as leaders, can we be that intentional, Mike, about burning down both the masters' houses, focusing on our own house, galvanizing all of our leaders in one place at one time to vote on our nationality, our flag, our values, and have a black vote day in real life? Can we do that?
I think it would be helpful. I do. I mean, because I think there's a lot of conversation right now around reparations and so on and so forth. But as I have been enlightened by Brother Jay Morrison, we can't get reparations because we haven't been officially classified as a nationality. African American is not a nationality. Black is not a nationality. So you can't give reparations to people who don't have an official nationality, a flag, a constitution, and you have a seat at the UN. You know what I'm saying? So when we speak, when people ask me about reparations, I'm like, well, that's kind of putting the cart before the horse. So I understand the importance of that, but I also think that it has to be detailed instructions, line items, step by step of how to achieve this goal, so you will know exactly what you're asking people to do.
Thank you, brother. Brother, look, we got a long line, but let me get as many questions as I can. Thank you, brother.
How y'all doing? My question is for Killer Mike, all right? My name's Brandon Robinson. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I have a art brokerage company where we represent wall artists all over, DeKalb, Fulton County. I just got invited to a District 9 PTA vendor event on Tuesday. Now, this same district is equal to the same district in California as far as the medium, as far as money that comes in the income for our families, right? But when I come to DeKalb or where I come to Fulton, they say, hey, your brand is too rich for us. Our kids don't need these murals. Our kids don't need the scores to be up. Our kids don't need. So it forces my business as a black entrepreneur to go out there to District 9, and it's like, it's no love for the entrepreneurship within the school system to even get them one-to-one with their technology. I'm talking to principals that's 5-to-1. I'm telling them I'm gonna give them 10% back.
So let me get your question, brother.
So I'm giving them 10% back. So I'm just trying to figure out, why is it that it seems like the white community adapts to what my company does more so than the black counties in Atlanta?
Well, I don't have those answers. I don't know the specifics, but what I do know is that enough pressure will bust a pipe. And if you are truly bringing a resource to the community that's good, keep applying the pressure. I know Michael Thurman is the CEO out there. I know they have a black superintendent out there who's planning on retiring soon. So keep putting on the pressure. I don't know the specifics to give an answer, but what I do know is that black politicians and white politicians are all politicians, and politicians respond to money or the will of the people by way of the vote, and that's the way to put pressure. To bring money into, take money out of, or apply the pressure of the constituents when you're applying the vote. That's what I do know.
Thank you. Next question.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing, man? P. Diddy, appreciate you for this event, man. This shit is lit. I love all this culture talk. But Tip, my question for you, OG, all I do is a coup. You know what I'm saying? I just got a question. I was talking to Molly in the studio, and I was asking her, like, man, I was asking, like, how should I come and talk to Tip, knowing that he's my idol, to ask a question? Because I know you got all artists coming at you. My question would be, what would you say to an artist that's trying to approach you, that look up to you, what to say to you? You dig what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. I was listening.
I got you. I was listening
Candace.
to it. I was listening to it.
Okay.
I would say, honestly, Tip actually be on his Instagram. I would send a picture of me at the conference with my SoundCloud, and I'm pretty sure he'll listen to it.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
So real quick, you all hold up. There have been 3 straight brothers that have asked a question. Can we get some sisters? We've had 3 straight brothers that have asked questions. So I want to make sure that we balancing this out.
Good afternoon. I want to first of all say
We got a sister speaking. Let's bring the volume down. We got a sister speaking.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone and what you left here today, because what we're really talking about is the unfinished business of the civil rights movement. And we all stand on those shoulders. And none of that work happens without vigorous rigor of lively debate. It's how it all gets solved. So my name is Gia Compton. I'm from Atlanta, Hightower and Baker Road. You know about that. And I'm a consulting producer on a documentary from Kite Flyer Productions, who did the Defiant ones for HBO. And my question is for Tip, because I want to bring it back to the head. You said early on this evening that the things that we're talking about seem to be separate, but they really are not. They are related. And I think it's important for us to maybe begin to end out the evening talking about how we bring these things back to the relevancy of Atlanta and local politics.
Thank you.
Well, okay, so first of all, when we start to speak about politics, the first thing I want to make sure everybody understands about Tip it's, in my eyes, it's not about Republican. It's not about Democrat. It's about decent people who have a genuine interest to fulfill the need of the people that look like me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel. Like, if you know that the educational system is subpar in Atlanta or wherever it is, then okay, and I have children. My children go to school. I don't want the education system to be subpar. So I'm gonna vote on the person who has a strong education initiative, period. It's not about voting for people because I'm black and they're Democrat, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Candace, much to your dismay, that's not how I feel. That's not how I choose a candidate. I choose, for one, people who I feel are decent. Two, people who I feel are honest. Three, people who I feel are educated and who are experienced and who can actually follow through with doing the shit they stand on TV and say. But I think that everybody on this panel, all of you are brilliant. All of us have ideas that could benefit one another. And I think that what Mike said was absolutely correct. If we can get in a room, you know what I'm saying? I think Candace has a problem with the crowds cheering for me and booing to her. And that's not my fault. That's not my intention.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You said I'm going for...
No, I said I don't like when you go for gotcha moments. Because,
gotcha moments.
Like
that
when
means...
you're like, oh, well, you started with some bullshit. Like, actually, let me get to what I was going to say. Because what I was going to say is what Killer Mike said.
All right, well, okay, okay.
So when
listen,
you're trying
I'm
to just hype people and you actually don't...
You're
we're all losing when you do something
listen,
like that. Everybody loses when you go for a gotcha. I know how, if you want to hype a crowd, oh, it's bullshit, it's racism,
Candace,
it's
sister,
Trump, get on your feet, fuck this, we gotta stand up, we
Sister.
gotta do our shit, we gotta do what we gotta do with
Round of
black
applause
people.
for Candace,
That's
please.
a waste of time.
Yo, real shit, you would have made a great fucking rapper.
I really would have.
Yo,
Yeah.
let me say, we got 1 minute though.
Oh, yeah.
Let me say this. Let me give people this charge before we get out of here. Your charge. Read the preamble. Read the United States Constitution, like I got high last night and read, right? Read it so you know what the fuck your rights are or not. And to Atlanta. Atlanta should be the prototype for Democratic and Republican black progression because you have the economic means here. You have a school system where 50% or more are named for black educators and emancipators, yet you are not graduating 50% of your students. You have the ability, you have the third most Fortune 500 companies here. You have the most black restaurants and hookah lounges here. This is Wakanda, niggas. If you can't make Wakanda work, then we will fail in Charlotte, we will fail in Jacksonville, we will fail in Tampa, we will fail in Detroit. So the answer is not with any one person on this stage.
Correct.
The answer is in each individual in this stage and in this room. After these cameras leave, after my nigga Diddy finish bopping through this motherfucker, get in your goddamn church meetings, get in your living rooms, get in your Masonic temples, organize, 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 organize. It is our job to get the fuck off both plantations. I don't care if it's the social democratic one. I don't care if it's the one owned by the goddamn casino owner. Get the fuck off them and build your own shit. Atlanta, if we do not do it, we are failing all of black America. I love you and I appreciate y'all letting me talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the last word. Please give a round of applause to Steve, to Candace, to T.I., Killer Mike. You all... A photo?
You guys make some noise again. Give it up, please. You could not have heard this anywhere else. First of all, this is better than C-SPAN. Give a round of applause again for Killer Mike, Jeff Johnson, T.I.
Could hit your bitch, you can never hit mine, nigga.